Hello everybody, this is a Lamley showcase. Our first look at the next Hot Wheels RLC model, brand new casting, the 1995 BMW M3 Lightweight. Very excited for this one. Goes on sale September 9th. I believe when I post this video, most likely tomorrow, but that won't matter. September 9th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I think it's going to be very popular. Coming off the heels of this sale, which was, as anticipated, wild. Ferrari that sold out, the Subaru, which I think is sold out, the Mercedes-Benz over there. These are some of the highlights for me, at least, of the RLC year so far. But very, very excited for this one since we learned about it. Rob Mathis designed this one. He is the BMW head on the Hot Wheels design team. So very excited to open this one up. Mattel just sent this to me so I can preview it for you. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll have a little bit of a car show afterwards as well. First off, I've got to add to the pile. So we're just going to do this very, very quickly. I never opened the Chevrolet Brookwood, and I want to do that because it is a new casting, and many of you already have it, and I just haven't opened it. And I want to do that. So I'm going to. We're really close up today. We've got the gloves on because we're doing RLC. And, you know, I don't even remember when this one went on sale, but I did buy it, and I'm very excited to look at it. I'll show you the box. Oh, that's kind of cool. You can freeze the screen. You want to see the BMW, so I'm going to get to that very, very quickly. In fact, I might cut out some of this stuff, but yeah, screwed down. So I will, to save some time, I'll just show you. This is in the acrylic case. We're seeing more and more in the acrylic case, right? BMW included. And, I think that, you know, I actually don't mind it. I actually don't mind it. There's a detail about the acrylic case coming up that I think is kind of cool. I'll put this on the turntable very, very quickly so you can see it. This one has the opening hood and the opening tail. So before I do, I'll actually show you that. There is the opening hood. Brendan Vitesky designed this one. I think in the sneak peeks he did talk about the engine design here, and I don't remember all of it offhand, but that's quite a bit of detail for an engine, and that looks phenomenal. And then on the other side, this has the opening tail, if I remember correctly here. If I can, there it is. There's the opening tail as well, looking into the wagon. No post. It is RLC. They don't need to do the post for safety reason. But yeah, that's very nice. Put it on the turntable so you can see it. I love the design. The obviously white wall tires, deep dish Steelies. And a very nice RLC Spectraflame blue design. I don't know if this was Van or Christina who did this one, but it is quite beautiful. And, you know, when you think about, you know, you look at this, now obviously the RWB is not new, but between the Ferraris, the 22B, the Mercedes-Benz, and now this classic wagon, and then the BMW we're getting to, Koenigsegg, which went on sale a while ago, we've got a nice variety of things that's coming up, and I have heard some details about RLC next year. Just wait. We'll obviously learn about it, I'm sure, at the convention here in a few weeks. All right, that is the Brookwood Estate. I'm just gonna let it bridge this over here because I haven't taken it off, and I don't want to wait. We're gonna get to this BMW, so let's do that. That Brookwood's nice. Rob Mathis designed this. I'm actually going to include at the end of this Rob's whole description about this. I already put it in the sneak peeks, but back in February we did a sneak peek video with Rob Mathis, and he talked through this design and what he did, because he put a different engine in this and talked about the reasons why. And so better him explain than me. So I'm actually going to tack on the back of this video his whole talk through this, so you can have that as a reference as well as we showcase this. So in the meantime, let's get this opened up. Not much here in terms of the packaging is nice, but obviously that's the outer packaging. What we're interested in is actually opening this up. And here, oh wow, this is awesome. BMW 1995 BMW LTW, aka lightweight. Nice packaging here. I don't know if this is a Matt Gabe package or someone else. You want to go ahead and freeze that. you can. But let's unveil the model. There's that at the bottom. No sticker on this one, so no numbering. But what we're worried about, what we care about, and especially a color that will add nicely to this, is that. Wow. Yep. All right. I'll show it to you in the case. 1995 BMW M3 LTW, Redline Club. This is nice and clean. These cases don't stack still, which I wonder if that'll ever change. I'll show it to you just a little bit longer in this, but we got to get this thing out of the package and even off of the plinth. I think it has, yeah, it has an opening hood. Yeah, of course it has an opening hood because Rob put an E46 engine in it. All right, let's just pop this. That was clean. And here it is. I'm going to show it to you on the plinth for a second. No opening doors, totally fine with that. I think this is something they were working on, and then Brendan went to Rob about doing this one. There are some custom elements to this. I mean, if you look at this casting, you know, this was a very limited model. I think they think, what was it, 20 or 30 made, something like that, some really small number. And all of them, if I remember correctly, are in white. And maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but all of them released are in white with that, you know, M3 kind of corner detailing. And so this would be considered a custom. And I think this front grille and front splitter is all custom as well. And of course, the engine being put in it is custom. So if that's different, you guys let me know. But let me see if I can get this open. Check that out. So there is the custom engine that Rob added to this one. And I have to say, it looks really, really good. Curious where they're going to go with this one, because obviously I would say, like they did with the Acura Integra, they did plain white. You could go plain white with this one with a cool 5-spoke rim and give it that standard, you know, M decor. And I think that would be really, really cool. Let's get this off of its base. All right. I remember Rob showing the chassis. There it is, with the exhaust detailing on it, which is really nice. That front splitter looks so good. We'll put it on the turntable now. This is about as good as it gets. As a matter of fact, what we will do here, well, when you come back from the turntable, I will have a completely different setup. All right, we had to have a car show. Of course we had to have a car show. So that E36, I mean, the first thing that I wanted to compare to with this E36 was to the E36 Premium. Well, this started as a basic casting. Here it is over, I'll show you the chassis. BMW E36 M3 race car. That was done for basic, and then it was put into premium. We haven't seen it much of late, but it was put into premium for Fast and Furious, right? Several years ago. And it's a nice model, but silhouette, it always seemed a little too exaggerated when you compare. I mean, we'll compare in a second, but it always seemed a little too exaggerated in terms of length of the car. But the silhouette is still nice, but it did get this kind of track-friendly bumper that they didn't really modify when moving to premium. I think something, if Ron Wong were taking over, he probably would have modified that. But that always bothered me a little bit. But now with this one, you get obviously a much, much better front end with the splitter. Now, I don't think these are supposed to be the same car, right? I don't think this one is ever considered the lightweight, but maybe so. The rest of this car show is I actually just pulled out some of the just plain. I could have, I could do a full BMW show my favorite BMWs, but what I did instead, because we're looking at this very cool, clean orange version of the lightweight, of the E36 lightweight, I thought I would pull out some of my favorites. And there's more I could go to, but I kind of stayed in premium. You start with the E30. I could have gone with the E30 that we've seen in premium, but I went with this RLC version that Brendan Vituski did, and we've seen it twice. I still like this blue version better than the red version, and I think this is one that mine doesn't have a lot of damage, but I think some people did with the rubber bands, and that is one of the reasons that Hot Wheels is now doing that kind of plastic like holder for these cars instead of a rubber band holding the doors in place, which looks bad on the well, actually, you know what, if you look, see, mine did have a little bit of damage from the rubber band. Look at that. That's not cool. And so that's why I would rather have that kind of, you know, that kind of, we're looking right here, that little plastic insert there holding it in place than a rubber band, because yeah, it does create some damage. At least on mine it did. So there's this one. I think it's a very nice casting with the 10 spokes. This red version is also nice. I don't like the wheels as much, but they're probably more appropriate for this casting. So I think this red one is pretty nice as well. In terms of street versions of these cars, the E30, I love the new Kaido House version, and you know, June did the original E30 for Hot Wheels, and so you know, I really do like the E30, and I think this RLC is nice. I think I might even prefer the premium better, but you know, that is what it is. E46 we already saw. These M5s here. Now this is where it gets pretty serious. This is where I was living as my favorite BMWs, but this one might surpass it now just because of the immense amount of detail and how beautiful they are. But these are no slouches. I think the first casting, this one came out in that M3, or that, so not M3, but that M Racing 3-pack, right? Several years ago, in BMW Racing livery, or, you know, M branding. And then they finally did it as a street car in the Canyon Carvers, I think was the name of the mix, for Car Culture, in this beautiful red version with 5 spokes. This is the 2001 BMW M5 E39, which I thought, and I just loved it with these 5 spokes. This was a Phil Reelman design, and I thought it was just really, really well done. I think Phil actually did the E30, the original E36 as well, if I'm remembering correctly. But this one is very, very nice, this red version. And then, of course, we saw it a little bit later as a convention exclusive, and I've always dug this convention exclusive because they did this kind of doled out metallic looking 10 spoke, which I wish we'd see more often on these models, because that looks less plasticky and looks more metal without it being too chromy. And I've always, if that's a word, I've always really loved this blue version that was one of the conventions. I can't even remember what year. 2023 Collectors Convention. Yeah, so 2 years ago. Always thought this was a really, really beautiful version of that casting. And then just recently we went back in time, and for Fast and Furious we saw this version of the M5. This is the 91 BMW M5, the E34, in black with 10-spoke rims. Just a cool, menacing, classic BMW. Just, it looks heavy, and I kind of like it looking heavy like that. Just kind of a VIP almost look to it. And just a really, really, really nice model. And then, of course, it did pop in a little bit later in Boulevard with 5 spokes in white, and you can guess. I love it. Love it. Probably my favorite of these clean BMWs that aren't RLC. And that's just a little bit of, you know, you could go into basics. There's a ton of those. M4 is a really nice casting. The M2 is actually really decent. Matchbox, we already did a BMW show for Matchbox a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, there's just a lot of good BMWs to collect. But this may be, you'll have to tell me where this one ranks for you guys. And tell me, first off, are you getting it? And second, are you, where does this rank with your other BMWs in your collection? I think this one's up there, and I'm looking forward. This orange version in Signature Orange is beautiful in Spectre Flame Orange, and I love that it's debuted this way, but I'm not going to complain if we see a plain white version with that M trim with this one with 5 spokes. I will not complain at all, and I hope one day we do. I'm sure we're going to see future versions of this casting, so looking forward to that. You guys tell me what you think. I mean, we're on a roll. This may not be as hyped as this guy, but I do think that, all things considered, this might be the cooler car. What are you going to do? You guys let me know what you think. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for Rob's description of this casting. I think you'll enjoy listening to that again here at the back end of this video from the sneak peeks back in February. Thank you. Bye. To it, you want to start with that?
Sure, yeah, let's start with that.
Look at that. You get to look at that right away.
So yeah, this is a 1995 BMW M3 LTW, or lightweight. So this had an exclusive body kit on it. It had this big front splitter on it. This was really like a stripped down car for track use.
Yeah.
And it had a really tall rear spoiler on it. And then I've added a few custom touches here. So it was like if I were to kind of do a custom build on one, what it would look like.
Sure.
So I've put the opening hood, of course.
So you really are, I mean, you were kind of fighting the BMW junkie, but you have a vision here with this, like what you would do to it.
Yeah. And the E36 generation is really my favorite.
It is gorgeous.
And of course, Spectraflame Orange, which is awesome. Van did an awesome job on the deco on this. So if we look under the hood here, we've got the S54 engine. So this is the later engine from the E46 that I've put in the E36. So this is a lot more. This has got a lot more horsepower, a lot higher performance engine, which didn't come with this generation. But yeah, this is kind of the Phantom hot rod version.
Oh, that's so cool. Has that been done?
Yeah, that's a conversion that people do.
Got it.
I've also got a DTM style exhaust. So it's a little bit of a custom exhaust detail there. And then you can see that on the bottom as well.
So that's the exhaust right there?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, like I'm trying to just get a sense of the details. We're just pointing the camera at it, but it's pretty phenomenal.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That is totally okay. So is the E46 engine your favorite, and then this is your favorite, and then this is your
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my numbers right here. Yeah, the favorite engine with your favorite body style.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to.
That was the one thing that was lacking, particularly in the U.S. versions of the E36 M3, was we got an engine that was way down on power.
Got it.
So that's the conversion to do, is to put that European next generation engine in. I've also added a couple of interior touches. This had a really stripped down interior with no sound system, but if I were to do one, I'd put a sound system in. So I've got a couple of speakers in the factory locations.
You can bring it right
back in the back window.
Oh yeah.
So you can see those back there too.
That is so rad.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. Brendan was gracious enough to let me do this RLC car. I appreciate it, and yeah.
Oh, I think it'll be a hit.
Very happy with it.
So this is pretty much the finished product. We should see it sometime.
Sometime, yes.
I know not to ask because that always changes. But it does look close enough that we should see it. We should have it in our collections fairly soon.
Yes.
I assume. Awesome. Well, that's beautiful. And I have been looking forward to seeing the finished product since it was introduced. And I know I'm not alone in that. So you want to park it in the parking lot? Go for it.
Sorry, I'll park it.